Please don't look at me like that. I can read your desires plainly on your face.
Do you think your face does not betray your inner thoughts? A wolf can befriend a flock of sheep, but it will always see them as lumps of meat. Wouldn't you agree?
You show so much concern for me, Soziel. Is that because my appearance is beautiful and your goddess teaches you to revere beauty?
Yes and no. You are beautiful, it's true, but not because of your appearance.
Why did your tribe hide under the ground? If you came up to the surface, would the good people really turn you away?
Why'd you live on the street? If you entered a wealthy home, would the good people not allow you to stay there?
Too bad I didn't know about your village. My friends and I could have left the streets and lived with you like a family.
I'm afraid you wouldn't be welcome there either. You think too kindly of us. Even our tribe had its cast-offs and pariahs.
Setting aside the aesthetic pleasure of beholding paintings, what practical purpose do they serve?
What makes you think that aesthetics isn't practical? Beauty commands attention and can convey ideas that would go unnoticed otherwise. And also, paintings can cover an unsightly spot on a wall.
Tell me about the abyss. I have heard that only demons can make their way to the top there.
Sometimes having the heart of a demon is enough, but that seems to be the case for finding success in Galarian, too.
Could you please keep your distance when I am hearing confessions? Confession is a private sacrament.
Ah, you want to use their secrets yourself. You're far more cunning than I gave you credit for, priest.
You must thank fate every day for blessing you with the celestial blood in your veins.
Hardly. I stopped doing that when I was told for the 1000th time that I was a disgrace to my blood and my lineage.
Did you have any songs down in the caves? Life without songs would be sad.
When I was a runt, I once started whistling a tune out of boredom. But then a carnivorous snake slithered up behind me and wrapped itself around my throat. I stabbed it with my knife, and then I sank my teeth into it and chewed. Ever since then, I haven't liked music. But I do like snake meat.
I say, Nenio, have you heard that there is a dinosaur living in the sewers beneath Dresden?
This claim is so popular that every 10th Crusader keeps rushing to tell me of it. Having spent 3 nights in the cesspits of Dresden, I can confidently say that the claim is a baseless rumor and nothing more.
Why do I have to do all the dirty work at the camp? We have plenty of soldiers. Why don't we take a few along as servants?
I've wanted to comb your hair for so long, but I'm afraid I might hurt you.
Can you do a braid? If you know how, I'll endure it.
After everything that happened to you, you could have become a very angry person, but you didn't. Where does all your compassion and love come from?
I don't know. What about you? You're very kind, even though a horrible thing was done to you. You were forced to be a demon.
People come to you willingly and tell you their secrets. Who are these idiots?
But I swore a vow never to reveal their secrets to anyone else. Oh, I forgot. You don't understand the meaning of the word vow.
Another campsite where I will pray for Desna to send me a dream. And another disappointment when it doesn't come.
I have scary dreams sometimes. Or sometimes I have good ones, but then I'm sad when I wake up and realize they're not real. Maybe having no dreams is better?
How does one who believes in no gods or spirits come to possess healing powers?
I suppose I must draw my strength from my utter disinclination to be in debt to any god or spirit.
I say, Nenio, why do you speak to me so rarely? I could tell you much that would interest you. We could be friends.
Your intellect is lower than the intellect of the average citizen, rich girl. Your knowledge and views are of no interest to the world.
You have the power to heal and the power to maim. Don't you regret that your goddess made you a killer?
I only regret that the goddess didn't grant me the power to silence unwanted noises.
Do you claim not to take any pleasure in plunging your blade into your victim's flesh?
I take pleasure in depositing the client's fee in my coffers. The rest of it, that's just work.
Life has handed down many harsh challenges to me already in my life. I need someone who can teach me how to kill my enemies.
I don't usually offer lessons, but if we can agree on a price.
If you're so good at healing other people, how come you don't heal yourself?
Of what? There's nothing wrong with me.
I remember my father once scolded me for bringing my puppy to the table and letting it eat from its own plate.
What does a poor mongrel have to do to get luxuries like separate plates? I've been eating off yours for a month.
You fight demons with such joy. Do you really enjoy their suffering?
Shove that somewhere else. Demons are demons. Why are you sympathizing with them?
Sela, a ball gown would suit you very nicely. Or any dress.
Are you kidding? All that lace on me? It'd be like putting a saddle on a sow. It'd be enough to make the cats laugh.
Steady on, Dayron. They are perfectly ordinary mosquitoes. They are not spreading disease. And they will not bite you on the face. They wouldn't dare.
You wield your weapon well. Watching you in battle is a pleasure.
Combat is not a circus. You should watch me less and watch our enemies more.
I've heard that the more intense a gnome's bleaching, the more his thoughts become distorted and hazy.
My thoughts have always been crystal clear. The bleaching has had no effect on them.
Shaylin teaches you to worship beauty, but your worship does not seem to extend to myself. You have wounded me, sir.
Shaylin also teaches that beauty comes from within. I look inside you, and there's very little to admire there at present.
I do like how spick and span you keep all your things. Your armor is so polished. I could powder my nose without needing a mirror.
Well, I live in hope of the day when you can see me as a person and not just a convenient reflective surface.
What would you like your first dream to be?
I don't even know. I think once I'm able to imagine it, that's when I'll be ready to accept Esna's gift.
If I am forced to eat food prepared by your hands one more time, Arachnid, I shall go on hunger strike.
Hunger strike? What would you know of real hunger, you pampered little princess?
Camellia, allow me to attend to you and ease, if I can, the travails of the crusade. As a lady accustomed to comfort, this all must be quite trying for you.
You are the picture of chivalry, Count. But I grew up in far less luxurious and pleasure-filled conditions than you. I am no stranger to sufferance.
But why did your dear papa conceal you from society for so long, Lady Camellia? It's an outrage.
Isn't it obvious, Count? He was protecting me from the likes of you. My father has always been wary of little boys who climb into other people's gardens.
I'm trying to discover even the slightest flaw in you, Lady Camellia, but I cannot. Confess now, you must have one imperfection?
Just the one, but I take great pains to conceal it, Count. Perhaps we should take a walk together sometime, and I shall tell you about it, away from listening ears.
Another stopping place, another troubled sleep interrupted by the snores of my adored companions. Sela, could you perhaps sleep a little further away from me? A mile should do it.
Yeah, right. The snores of a paladin possess the magical ability to ward off all fiends. Didn't you know? My snores are doing you a favor, pal.
Everyone looks rather busy. And yet there's nothing for me to do to help the crusade? Oh, what a pity. I suppose being bone idle is also an important task. By right of blood, I claim this duty as my own.
Such power, and it is bestowed upon an undisciplined whelp. I cannot abide waste.
Quite right. I am too good for this little world. Thank you for noticing.
I wonder if a ringing effect similar to a bell is produced inside the helmet of Iomede's herald when the phrase "in the name of Iomede" is exclaimed. This hypothesis requires its own experiment. I need a bucket.
But really, what's it like? Like an ordinary human organ? Or is it like a lizard's? Is it forked? By my reckoning, it should at the very least be longer than a normal human's.
All right. Give over. You've won. Look, you happy now? Perfectly normal human tongue.
Nenio, you never ask me questions about the Abyss. Every crusader brave enough to talk to me asks me what it's like there, but you never do. I don't mind either way, but why doesn't the Abyss interest you?
My project is called the Encyclopedia Galerianica. The Abyss is not Galerion. That information is beyond the scope of my current research.
You're so pretty, but I'll never be like that. It's a little sad, I guess.
For anyone with a heart, you will always be far more beautiful than me, little one.
I used to see you preaching in the square, Ember. Didn't your past teach you to be wary of crowds? Fanatics are dangerous whether they're taking up arms against you or hanging on your every word.
I didn't preach, I just talked. And I didn't see any fanatics there, just good people. Why would they want to hurt me?
A sheltered noblewoman able to wield a blade with deadly skill? Highly suspect. What are you hiding?
You're always keeping such a close eye on me, Paralictor. Tread carefully, or else I'll think you've developed a tender for me.
Seela, my dear, won't you tell me again how sinful and morally bankrupt my lifestyle is, and how I must see the error of my ways? Your lectures always send me straight to sleep.
Yeah, right. Today, your path to repentance is silent prayer and self-reflection.
We've met before. You never shooed me from the temple steps. And once, you gave me a whole loaf of bread.
And I let you keep sleeping on the street. Forgive me, Ember. I did nothing for you when you needed my help.
I cannot help but think that everything happening right now will one day end up in the history books. And under the stern gaze of the schoolmaster, little Mendevians will read, "On such and such a day, the heroes stopped to camp here and there." And the little blighters will be thoroughly bored, and so they will begin doodling in the margins. And the only picture of yours truly in the book will be adorned with a mustache. So much for the rewards of heroism.
You've traveled all over, but never found anywhere to settle down. So, is wanderlust really as powerful as they say?
Wandering is destiny. You don't choose the road, it chooses you. And even if you lock yourself away behind a dozen barred doors, eventually something will lure you out of your hole again. And that's when you realize your traveling bag has been waiting, packed the whole time.
My dear Nenio, did you know that the best folk remedy for snoring is a pillow pressed to the face of the snorer? Give it a try tonight if you hear anyone start to snore.
How very interesting. Thank you for the tip. The next person to snore will be subject to immediate experimental healing. This will be fascinating.
I'm struggling to adapt to how you do things on the surface. Below, our tribes only fight over food, and then we go our separate ways again. No mongrel would ever think of sending killers to murder his neighbors.
Trust me, if you had an excess of food, people, and free time, you'd quickly start thinking of more sophisticated ways of killing each other.
I say, I do believe your bleaching has progressed since yesterday. As your healer, I'm prescribing a trip to the nearest brothel. The experience will add at least 10 years to your life.
Naked people are of no interest to me. People faking desire for me, even less so.
You know, you're not that bad for a paladin. Not as much of a self-righteous bore as the others.
You're also not as much of a jerk as I thought. For an arrogant, immature, self-absorbed man-child, of course.
I wish to make my confession, Soziel. On one occasion, I spent a rather steamy night with a trio of Assyrian crocodile hunters. They're enormous, bronzed.
Muscles shone with oil, their bodies were temptation made flesh, and so on and so forth. Do you really think you're the first person who's tried to turn confession into a joke?
Nenio, tell me, do you truly not understand that I am, well, mocking you when I suggest all these madcap experiments.
Mocking me? I've never thought about it in that way. It makes no difference to me. Your ideas are tremendously useful, Azimar boy.
For a troglodyte, you show no fear of the sky or open space. Or are you simply good at hiding your fear?
I don't waste time looking about me. I only look for what it is I want to kill, eat, or fuck. And once I've found my target, it's the only thing I see.
I used to have many friends in the River City, but then all of them died. Now I have new friends. They aren't going to die, are they?
No, Ember. We won't let any of our friends die. We studied healing magic for a reason, didn't we?
Scoot over. I want my scaly side facing the fire. My lizard side always gets colder than my warm-blooded side. Go figure.
Don't you miss the abyss at all? Even a bad home is still a home. That's what I think. A home lives in your heart.
Trust me, there's nothing worth missing. And I'm trying to rip that home out of my heart so I never think of it again.
I hope you keep that spirit of yours under control. I wouldn't want it attacking us in the middle of battle.
There are some forces you can't rein in. Unfortunate, isn't it? But don't worry. My spirit isn't going to betray me.
You have such pretty golden hair. When I look at it, I always think of the sun, angels, fresh bread, and all sorts of good things.
Fresh bread, you say? Poor hungry child. I hope you won't try to eat me while I sleep.
You're proud of what you do, almost as if it was a respectable profession.
Whereas you think the only honorable killing is killing in the name of a god. That's a zealot's reasoning.
I heard you talking to your invisible friends. You know, I have a friend too.
I can't imagine what spirit would talk to a gutter snipe like you, and I don't want to.
You lived on the streets and you never once stole nothing? Like nothing? Nothing? Not even an apple? Get out of here.
But it's the truth. Why would I steal when kind people are so willing to share what they have?
Sometimes I watch you in combat, and I get the impression that fighting demons brings you pleasure. Do you truly enjoy it?
Of course I do. I am defending my home, fulfilling my duty. I feel the thrill of righteousness. No need to fret over it, you wouldn't understand.
You expend too much effort trying to rile the aristocracy. The expedient thing would be to renounce your title and exit this fight.
And miss out on the greatest diversion of my life? I think not.
How are you able to think of jokes so quickly? I can't make jokes at all.
So you've seen how fast a paladin can bring up their shield to fend off a blow? It's the same thing. Takes years of practice.
Knock, knock. Who's there? Para. Para who? Paralictor Regil.
No, you're supposed to say knock, knock, and I'm supposed to say who's there, and then you reply. Go on, try it again.
Regil, if your commander ordered you to, say, get drunk on wine and proposition a pretty squire, would you, as a loyal soldier, be duty-bound to carry out the order without a second thought?
I would be duty-bound to report the commander, arrest him, and deliver him to be tried in a court-martial. We already had an incident where infiltrators were masquerading as our soldiers. We have a procedure for unmasking saboteurs.
You there, beggar girl! That filthy bird of yours has befouled my tent! Wash this at once!
Washing. When I was little, I loved doing the laundry with my mom. We had so much fun. Thank you for reminding me of those days.
Final check. Knee pads in place. Pillow in case of spontaneous collapse in place. Chronometer in place and running. I hereby commence the experiment. Today we will learn if members of my race are capable of sleeping standing up.
Sometimes victory requires you to do things for which the gods will strip a paladin of her powers. You need more weapons training, or you'll be helpless in such a situation.
Are you serious? Training for failure. For that alone, the goddess would strip me of my powers, and she would be right to.
Suffering develops character and hardens the soul.
Like hell it does. Suffering maims and kills. Only crazy people like you see something good in it.
Shaylin teaches us to see beauty in everything. Does that include people's disfigurements when they are chopped up in war?
Enjoying wounds is not Shaylin but Zon Cthulhu's teaching. Wounds need to be healed or prevented, and sometimes beauty needs to be protected with weapons.
I can. It's all just talk. No one will ever want to live side by side with a demon. Even if by some miracle you don't go back to your own kind with your tail between your legs and you keep hanging about with mortals, they'll never accept you. No one will ever want to live side by side with a demon.
I hope I can earn the trust of mortals. I will try hard.
You are so gentle, so fragile. It pains me to see you in the carnage of battle.
Yes, all this blood and pain is difficult to endure, but I'm willing to bear it for the sake of my friends.
You put on a good show, but we'll never believe your supposed change of heart.
But if I was still the old Arushale, you would believe it. Oh, you would have believed anything I wanted you to. Your doubts only prove my honesty.
Today was a long day. I can barely stay standing. I'm so tired. And I still have to wash the dishes.
Go get some sleep. Don't worry about the dishes. I'll wash them for you.
You're making the same mistakes many clerics make. You think that the ability to wear armor makes you invincible. Keep away from the front lines, or you'll leave our party without a healer.
Thank you for your valuable advice and your touching concern for my safety.
You shamans are strange. It's like you wield magic like clerics, but with strange spirits instead of gods. It makes me uneasy.
What does it matter where the power comes from? What matters is it's on our side.
I can feel evil lurking in you, but you act like a normal person and a good comrade.
How should I know what your goddess considers evil? Maybe I wasn't polite enough to my servants, or didn't give enough coins to beggars in the street.
Nenio, I like your tail.
Really? But it serves no practical purpose and hinders rather than facilitates my movement. However, I cannot deny that beholding it does bring a certain aesthetic pleasure.
Why'd you even bother doing the jobs you're hired for? Just take the money and go to ground for a while. And if you're found, just kill them all. You're a scary fella. You could handle it. If I was a bounty hunter, that's what I'd do.
Something tells me you won't die of natural causes, friend.
If you ever feel like the world outside the walls of your mansion is alien and incomprehensible, come and talk to me. I know all about deception and betrayal. I can protect you.
You wish to be my friend? How charming. I would simply love to share girlish confidences with you and hear all about the deep, dark secrets of your past.
You waste too much effort on those who are unworthy.
How would I know who is worthy and who isn't? I just help whoever I can.
You've been through more than most in the Crusade army, and you remain unbroken. If there were 200 people like you in Canabres, the city would never have fallen.
In truth, I'm just like everyone else. Everyone else is just like me.
Sometimes you remind me of a child that's trying to act like an adult. It's as if something is stopping you from growing up.
Let me get this straight. You look at other people and it makes you want to grab them and suck them dry, but you take one look at me and you want to pat me on the head? I think I should be offended by that.
How could you forget your family, Nenio? Your roots, your ancestors, your heritage. I don't understand you.
Are there people of historical significance among your ancestors? Did your forebears invent something great? Then I don't understand why you remember them.
What's with the gloomy face? Did somebody say something to you? If somebody's been bothering you, you just point him out to me and I'll smash his face in.
No, Sela, everything's fine. I was just thinking about the past. It's too bad you can't beat that into submission for me.
Nenio, give me a pen. I want to draw too.
I am not drawing, Burned Girl. I am producing a detailed sketch. Take a pen and some paper. Today we are going to create an optimal layout for the sleeping rolls and other areas of the camp, taking into account wind direction, heat distribution from the fire, and the position of individuals who are prone to snoring.
Let me teach you a good Galarian song. You know, where I come from, there's a saying. If you want to understand a foreign people, learn their songs.
That is surprising. Yes, I'd like to try. Go on.
Hey, Uncle Greybor, my old pal, if anybody ever hires you to kill me, you'll give me a heads up, won't you? You know, sporting like.
Don't worry, my young friend. If I'm hired to kill you, you'll be the first to know.
Hey, sister, are you moping again? Snap out of it. Come over here and have a drink with me.
I can't get drunk from your alcohol. But the offer of company is very nice. Thank you, sister.
It is more efficient to slit a throat from right to left. That way the larynx is immediately severed, and the target cannot raise the alarm.
I've always done it left to right, and I plan to keep doing it that way. Otherwise, the blood from the jugular will splash onto my sleeve, and the guards might get suspicious.
That was a guy made of locusts. A guy made of locusts. One locust is disgusting, but a walking swarm of them?
I think this is the first time we've agreed on anything.
Thankfully, it wasn't necessary to kill each insect separately to kill the man. But just imagine if the fee was calculated per bug.
I heard you abandoned your daughter just because the road was calling you or some such tripe. You're not all that different to my dear old dad.
Number 1, shut your mouth. Number 2, my daughter didn't grow up to be a thief. Maybe even because I wasn't in her life.
I am continuing my efforts to identify and record Paladin curse words. Hey, Paladin girl, I covered your armor with soot.
You're like a little kid. I can't get upset with you, let alone swear at you. Come over here. Help me clean this armor.
Constantly shifting allegiance, latching on to whoever seems likely to be victorious. It seems like a winning strategy, but war consists of many battles where either side can win. You are not so good a strategist as to be able to predict the outcome of a war.
I'm a good enough strategist to know that victory always goes to the strongest.
Hey, so what's it like being immortal? Knowing that if you're lucky, your time is never going to run out.
It's not as great as you might think. I know plenty who were driven mad by the idea of eternity, the immensity of it. Living too long is as much a curse as dying too soon.
My fingers are getting white. How much more time do I have? 20 years? 10? 1? I do not fear death. But what if bleaching makes me lazy and undisciplined? I hope I do not live to see such a disgrace.
Running from the law, cutting purses, breaking into other people's houses. Is that really all you want out of life?
Oh, sister, I remember a priest of Iomade asking me the exact same thing when I was about 10 or so, using the exact same words. Do you guys have a script you have to follow or something?
You're not bad at spellcasting. Where did you study?
Here and there, but I give up all my lessons just to be able to drink the way you do and not end up under the table.
How beautiful is the unspoiled countryside that has escaped the taint of the world wound. It is only in these places that you start to appreciate the beauty of nature.
Uh-huh, I see what you're getting at. I'm a city lad, me. Oh, and I just love seeing the sun gilding the roofs. The glitter of the night soil as people empty their chamber pots out through the windows. The pigeons gnawing on one of their dead pigeon pals. It's enough to bring a tear to your eye.
It's sad to see Canabres in this state. Back in Neathholm, I imagine the city up here would be less on fire.
You're actually quite fortunate. This sleepy little backwater is livelier than usual.
The Temple of Shaylin. No doubt that's where you stash all your pretty baubles, huh? So tell me, what do you reckon the most valuable thing is that you'd find in temples of Shaylin and nowhere else?
Rose petal tea, of course.
Canabras is a reminder to us all of the need to keep fighting. It's hard, but we have to remember this moment.
What's gonna happen to it? They'll rebuild the place, surely, but how are they gonna patch over the holes in the cobblestones? That's what I'm wondering.
What is it like to kiss a lover and feel the strength leave his body? To feel his life slowly fade away? To feel his pleasure morph into pain?
It is horrific, and not at all as poetic as you make it sound.
Shaylin teaches us to only draw our weapons against those who will never choose to surrender.
Good to know. So I don't need to worry about paladins of Shaylin since I'm always ready to surrender.
Sometimes I worry that demons could take advantage of my inexperience. I know nothing of life. I am ill-prepared for the temptations they might offer me. Will you tell me about them?
Don't think about it. You have a pure heart. It won't lead you astray.
You're always saying, brother this, brother that. Oh, but it's just a word. Big deal. You both had the same mother. That makes no difference. He don't gotta love you, and you don't gotta chase after him all over the world.
I've never really thought of it as an obligation. Love comes from within. It either is or it isn't. Despite all its trials, I am glad to love my brother.
You've kept silent long enough. You must admit your evil deeds in order to make room for light in your heart. I want to help you. Let me be your confessor, and I shall help you unburden your soul.
I'm grateful to you, Camellia. It truly is difficult to carry my memories inside. Well, if you're sure you're willing, I'll tell you. But please prepare yourself. My past is dark and sordid.